In 1955, a small village in Trinidad and Tobago became ground zero for a virus that would remain relatively unknown for decades. Fast forward to 2023, and this same virus has infected thousands across the Americas, even claiming its first lives. This is the story of the Oropouche virus, a tale of how human actions can unleash unexpected consequences on our health and environment. From deforestation to climate change, we'll show you how our choices have paved the way for this stealthy virus to spread. In 1955, a 24-year-old forest worker in Trinidad and Tobago suddenly fell ill with severe fever symptoms. Little did he know that his blood sample would lead to the discovery of a virus that would remain largely obscure for decades to come. Scientists isolated a previously unknown pathogen from his blood, marking the first identification of the Oropouche virus. This initial discovery was just the beginning of a complex scientific journey. Researchers soon realized that Oropouche wasn't confined to human hosts. In 1960, a breakthrough occurred when the same virus was isolated from a pale-throated sloth in Brazil. This finding raised intriguing questions about the virus's natural reservoirs and transmission cycles. As scientists dug deeper, they uncovered a web of potential animal hosts. Howler monkeys, marmosets, and various bird species all showed evidence of Oropouche infection. The virus demonstrated a remarkable ability to cross species barriers, adapting to a wide range of hosts. This versatility posed a significant challenge for researchers trying to understand and control its spread. Despite extensive studies, one crucial piece of the puzzle remained elusive: the main wild host of Oropouche. While sloths were an early suspect due to the 1960 discovery, subsequent research failed to definitively pinpoint a primary reservoir species. This uncertainty complicated efforts to predict and prevent outbreaks, as the virus could be silently circulating in unknown animal populations. The potential for Oropouche to spread beyond its initial boundaries became a growing concern. Its ability to infect multiple species suggested that the virus could adapt to new environments and hosts. Additionally, the identification of insect vectors capable of transmitting Oropouche added another layer of complexity to its potential for dissemination. Surprisingly, despite these concerning factors, Oropouche remained largely confined to the Amazon region for decades. Intermittent outbreaks occurred in various parts of the Amazon basin since the 1960s, but the virus didn't seem to gain a foothold outside this area. Researchers speculated about the reasons for this geographical limitation, considering factors such as the distribution of suitable vectors and host animals. This relative containment led to a false sense of security. Oropouche was often overlooked in favor of more widespread tropical diseases. Public health officials focused their attention on other emerging threats, while Oropouche quietly persisted in its Amazonian stronghold. But the story of Oropouche was far from over. As the calendar turned to late 2023, something changed. The virus that had been content to simmer in the Amazon for nearly 7 decades suddenly began to make moves. A new chapter in the Oropouche saga was about to unfold, one that would catch many by surprise and force a reevaluation of this long-overlooked pathogen. Imagine a virus that spent nearly 70 years in relative obscurity, then suddenly appeared on 3 continents within months. This isn't science fiction, it's the true story of Oropouche's unexpected global debut. What factors aligned to turn this regional oddity into an international concern? In late 2023, health officials across the Americas began noticing an alarming trend. Cases of an unfamiliar fever were popping up in areas far beyond the virus's traditional Amazonian stronghold. Doctors in Cuba, a country with no prior history of Oropouche, found themselves facing patients with symptoms that didn't quite match any known local diseases. The numbers told a startling story. Brazil, long accustomed to sporadic Oropouche outbreaks, reported its first ever fatalities from the virus in July 2023. This development sent shockwaves through the medical community, as Oropouche had previously been considered a relatively mild illness. The virus wasn't just expanding its range, it was potentially becoming more dangerous. As health authorities scrambled to track the virus's spread, cases began appearing in urban areas far removed from the Amazon rainforest. This shift from rural to urban transmission raised serious concerns about the virus's ability to establish itself in densely populated regions. The fear was that Oropouche could follow in the footsteps of other mosquito-borne viruses like dengue or Zika, which had successfully adapted to city life. Scientists pointed to two major factors driving Oropouche's expansion: climate change and deforestation. Rising temperatures and altered rainfall patterns were expanding the habitats of the virus's insect vectors, particularly the biting midge Culicoides paraensis. At the same time, rampant deforestation was disrupting the natural ecosystems that had previously kept the virus in check, bringing humans into closer contact with potential animal reservoirs. The situation took on a new level of urgency when Oropouche made its first appearance in Europe. In a startling turn of events, 19 cases were reported in Germany, Italy, and Spain, all in travelers returning from Cuba and Brazil. This development highlighted the virus's potential for international spread in our interconnected world. The United States soon followed, with the CDC reporting 21 cases among travelers returning from Cuba. Perhaps most concerning was the emergence of local transmission in Cuba, a country where Oropouche had never before been seen. This suggested that the virus had found suitable conditions to establish itself outside of South America, raising fears about its potential to gain footholds in other regions with similar climates and vector populations. As health officials issued alerts and ramped up surveillance efforts, genetic analysis of the spreading virus revealed another twist. The Oropouche samples showed changes that could potentially enhance the virus's ability to replicate and transmit between hosts. This evolution hinted at a pathogen adapting to new environments and opportunities for spread. With Oropouche's rapid expansion and apparent increased virulence, the question on everyone's mind was, where would it strike next? But to answer that, we first need to understand the key players in this virus's transmission. How exactly does Oropouche move from person to person, and what makes it so adept at crossing borders? You might think mosquitoes are the ultimate disease spreaders, but there's a new contender for the title. Meet the midge, a minuscule menace that's helping Oropouche virus break boundaries. What makes these tiny terrors so effective, and why should we be worried? At the heart of Oropouche's transmission lies a fascinating and troubling partnership between virus and vector. The primary culprit is Culicoides paraensis, a species of biting midge so small it could easily be mistaken for a speck of dust. These insects, barely visible to the naked eye, have become the perfect vehicles for Oropouche's spread across the Americas. Culicoides paraensis thrives in humid environments, particularly near water bodies that serve as ideal breeding grounds. This habitat preference aligns perfectly with many human settlements, from rural villages to urban centers with poor drainage. The midge's widespread distribution, stretching from the United States to Argentina, provides Oropouche with a vast network of potential transmission routes. What makes these midges such efficient vectors? Their small size allows them to slip through standard mosquito nets, and their biting habits often go unnoticed until it's too late. When a Culicoides paraensis feeds on an infected animal, such as a sloth or primate serving as a virus reservoir, it picks up the Oropouche virus. In subsequent blood meals, the infected midge can then transmit the virus to humans, completing the cycle of transmission. The life cycle of Culicoides paraensis further complicates control efforts. These insects can breed in very small water bodies, even in leaf litter or tree holes, making it challenging to eliminate all potential breeding sites. Their ability to adapt to various environments has allowed them to flourish in both rural and urban settings, facilitating Oropouche's jump from forest to city. While midges are the primary vectors, mosquitoes may also play a role in Oropouche's urban spread. This potential for multiple vectors adds another layer of complexity to the virus's transmission dynamics and makes containment even more challenging. As Oropouche continues to expand its range, there's growing concern about its ability to adapt to new insect vectors, potentially accelerating its spread to new regions. So, how can you protect yourself from these tiny terrors? Experts recommend using EPA-registered insect repellents and wearing protective clothing, especially during dawn and dusk when midges are most active. Installing fine mesh screens on windows and doors is crucial, as standard mosquito nets may not be effective against the smaller Culicoides midges. If you're traveling to areas where Oropouche is present, continue using insect repellents for 3 weeks after returning home to prevent potential transmission to others. As we've seen, the partnership between Oropouche virus and its insect vectors has proven remarkably effective at spreading disease, But what happens once the virus makes its way into the human body? How does it manage to evade our immune defenses and cause illness? To understand the full impact of Oropouche, we need to take a closer look at its stealthy attack on human cells. Your immune system is designed to be an impenetrable fortress against invaders. But what if a virus could turn that fortress into its own secret hideout? Oropouche virus has mastered a devious trick that allows it to not only evade detection, but also use your own cells as a vehicle for its spread. When Oropouche virus enters the human body, it employs a sophisticated Trojan horse strategy. The virus targets immune cells called phagocytes, which are normally responsible for engulfing and destroying foreign invaders. However, Oropouche turns these defenders into unwitting accomplices. By infiltrating these cells, the virus can move freely throughout the body, hidden from other immune defenses. This stealthy approach allows Oropouche to replicate and spread rapidly before the body can mount an effective response. As the virus multiplies inside phagocytes, it's transported to various organs and tissues. One of the most concerning aspects of Oropouche's spread is its ability to cross the blood-brain barrier, a protective boundary that typically keeps harmful substances out of the brain and spinal cord. Once Oropouche breaches this barrier, it can cause inflammation in the brain and spinal cord, potentially leading to serious neurological complications. In some cases, this can result in conditions like encephalitis, inflammation of the brain, or meningitis, inflammation of the protective membranes covering the brain and spinal cord. As the virus takes hold, infected individuals typically begin experiencing symptoms within 3 to 10 days. The range of symptoms can be quite broad, making Oropouche fever challenging to distinguish from other tropical diseases. Common signs include a sudden onset of fever, accompanied by muscle aches and joint stiffness. Many patients report intense headaches, eye pain, and increased sensitivity to light. Gastrointestinal symptoms are also frequent, with nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea affecting many infected individuals. A general feeling of fatigue is common, and some people may develop a rash. These symptoms can persist for 3 to 6 days, but in some cases they may reappear days or weeks later, creating a relapsing pattern that can be particularly frustrating for patients. While most cases of Oropouche fever are self-limiting, meaning they resolve on their own without specific treatment, the potential for severe outcomes exists. This is particularly true for vulnerable populations. Individuals over the age of 65 and those with weakened immune systems face a higher risk of developing serious complications from the infection. The similarity of Oropouche fever symptoms to other tropical diseases can lead to misdiagnosis, potentially delaying appropriate care. This underscores the importance of increased awareness and improved diagnostic capabilities in areas where the virus is spreading. With no specific antiviral treatment available for Oropouche virus infection, management focuses on alleviating symptoms and supporting the body's natural healing processes. Rest, hydration, and over-the-counter pain relievers are typically recommended. But as the virus continues to expand its reach, the lack of targeted therapies raises urgent questions. What can be done to combat this emerging threat on a larger scale? The emergence and spread of Oropouche virus presents a complex set of challenges for global health. Its ability to adapt to new environments, cross-species barriers, and utilize multiple vectors makes containment difficult. As climate change and deforestation continue to alter ecosystems, we may see further expansion of this virus beyond its traditional range. Addressing this threat requires a multifaceted approach. Increased surveillance is crucial to track the virus's spread and identify new outbreaks quickly. More research is needed to understand Oropouche's transmission dynamics, develop effective treatments, and create potential vaccines. These efforts demand substantial resources and expertise from various scientific disciplines. The global nature of this emerging threat calls for international cooperation. As one expert noted, successful international collaboration is crucial in addressing the Oropouche virus. By sharing data, coordinating research efforts, and pooling resources, the global community can mount a more effective response to Oropouche and other emerging infectious diseases. Our interconnected world requires a united front against these evolving health challenges. Thank you for watching. If you found this information helpful, share it with others so we can continue to build a well-informed community. Stay informed. Stay empowered.